Look, we all see the mobs with their pitchforks. And it is real good to be in that mob. It feels great. It feels like we're going to get some justice. But ask yourself, what justice has come from the mob? Can't legally prosecute someone from the mob. Mob doesn't get justice. Mob just answers their own feelings. And a lot of people in the mob are misinformed, and they're just going around because those feelings are contagious. Now look, as far as getting creeps off of Roblox and hell, all of social media, I am with you. I have a child. The first time he received an unsolicited dick pic, I about lost my mind. And that was on the PlayStation app. And I have nieces and nephews that play on Roblox, and I am concerned for them too. But you know what I'm more concerned about? Making sure they get their day in court and make sure that they're able to be found guilty. Now let me tell you a little story. My son got hit by a truck on his bicycle when he was crossing a street. And he ended up getting 3 surgeries, one of which put a rod in his leg, another one put a plate in his shoulder. And he was in the hospital 12 days. And everyone I talked to was like, oh man, you're going to get that one. Oh man, he's going to get a big payout from this. It seemed pretty logical. It seemed like, okay, hey, we both have responsibility here, but one is in a truck, one is on a bicycle. Feels like maybe one has more responsibility than the other. But then, turns out that the law doesn't work like it works on TV. You see, because you can take the settlement from the insurance and just get whatever they pay. Or you can get yourself a lawyer, and a lawyer will then go ahead, hire a private investigator to find out exactly what they have in assets, to find out if it's even worth it. And then after roughly 18 months, you might get it in court. And if, in fact, you do win, your judgment might not be as good as you think. See how many judgments are actually paid out in America? Roughly 16%. That means 84% of all judgments go unpaid. That is terrible odds. And in Florida, even worse, okay? There is a reason certain people that got convicted of crimes relocated from, let's say, California to Florida, because there are certain protections here. And so you find yourself in a real horrible situation. Now, I'm going to be honest. We almost lost our son that day. And had I lost my son that day, no law would have saved the person that took his life. That I promise you. But I have to wait and be part of society. I can't just go and enact my feelings because that's what I feel. But that doesn't work, okay? There's laws. Now, I understand what people are doing out there. They're trying to talk to people, and they're getting brought in with ceases and desists. And the argument's like, Roblox isn't doing anything. First of all, justice takes a long time. It doesn't happen overnight. We don't know what the Roblox department is doing. You say that, hey, I reported someone and he's still there. They don't go off of a single report, okay? That would be really silly, because what happens if someone sent a single report on you, okay? And now let's pretend that we have technology that brings anything you imagine to life. Songs, pictures, movies. We got Bigfoot everywhere, for God's sakes. We're not even looking for him anymore. So with that in mind, any lawyer that is worth his salt will tell you that, oh, that wasn't me. They used that chat GPT. That's what they did. Oh, that person, they've had it out for me all this time. They have a bias. They were trying to get me. They set me up. And unless you're a deputy and you have some, law on your side, they're going to get away with it. And I don't want to see that happen. And here's another thing, okay? Let's just say I suspect my neighbor is a murderer. And I believe that they have indisputable evidence in their house. I'm not letting that son of a bitch get away with killing another person. So I sneak in and I get the critical evidence required and I turn it over to the police. You know, the police are going to ask me, how'd you come across this? Is that important? Chain of custody is pretty important, yeah, because that'll be asked in the court of law. Okay, I had my suspicions. He left the back door open. I went in. I found it. I took it. I brought it to you. All right, sir. So I understand this. You broke a law by breaking and entering and stealing personal property that didn't belong to you in order to have someone else convicted of breaking a law. Oh, but you understand, murder's way worse than breaking and entering. Now, let's just say worst case scenario. You're talking to one of these creeps, these monsters, and they tried to share with you something from their collection. Now it's on your computer. Now you are in trouble because it's not how you got it, it's that you got it. And that's a big deal. So you are putting yourself at risk by talking to these people and having a chance of having your computer affected with that kind of stuff. Now look, let's say the FBI, which by the way handles national stuff, the police don't handle national. Roblox is not in your hometown, okay? Roblox is not in your city. So that's important to recognize because the FBI needs to handle this stuff because a lot of times it's interstate, okay? But more importantly, it's important to think about, okay? Here's the scenario, okay? You get a tip about where the big crime boss is happening, is hiding in town, okay? So the first thing the detectives are going to do is they're going to go and try to find out if they're actually there. Then they're going to stake it out and they're going to watch them. They're going to get information. They're going to gather evidence. They aren't just going to go over and say, oh, that's where they are? You got it. I'll go get them. Look, if Batman and Spider-Man and all these superheroes were real, they would likely be a bane on society and would be a big pain in the ass to police officers because that would be a huge problem, okay? They would be vigilantes. Vigilantes are, against the law because they break the law. It's about getting someone, and there's rules and there's procedures. I heard someone say, oh, well, they turn them over to people that are trained professionals. I understand your intention, but you see, you can still mess it up beforehand. If I go ahead and I'm trying to, prepare a meal and I have Chef Ramsay coming over, if I screw it up, Chef Ramsay isn't going to be able to fix my screw up, okay? I've already screwed it up. There's no going back, okay? And now Chef Ramsay's pissed off because I was trying to help him out. I was trying to get the starters ready. I screwed it up, and now there's nothing. How are we supposed to have risotto with no rice? What is going on here? Now look, this is in no way supporting the predators. Absolutely not. They're pieces of shit. But you gotta understand, we gotta get them right. We have to not let our feelings dictate how we react to things. And I understand it doesn't look like Roblox is doing anything, but they aren't advertising what they're doing because that would be a really poor investigation if they're updating everybody how they're doing things. Okay? Sometimes it's just better to just assume that the best or the worst is happening. It's kind of like, the Epstein thing. People are, talking about, hey, we gotta go and get shut down this child sex ring because Jeff knew the head guy, apparently. Trust me, people are investigating. People are doing their job. We don't know everything. It's okay. We don't need to know everything right now. What we need to do is protect our kids. And that's what I'm concerned about. And if you want to protect kids, the best thing you can do is report it to the proper people so that they, the ones with the authority to actually do something, can actually help out. I ain't against you, not even a bit. I just want to make sure that we catch these pieces of shit.